And we're back on Big War Sports. Freddie Coleman, as always, on the Friday show. Will Brown, Albany men's basketball coach, in studio with team, with him as they get set to open up a new season. A week from tonight will be at CEFCU Iona Gales, their first opponent. I'll have the call along with Jeremy Friel on ESPN 3 next Friday night. Good to see you, Coach.
Good to see you.
And let's welcome Freddie.
Freddie, how we doing?
Coach?
I am good. You mean I'm talking to Will Brown, the coach of the future America East champion Albany Great Danes? That Will Brown?
Way to put the pressure on, Freddie. It does have a nice ring to it, though.
That's not, Coach, that's not pressure. That's belief. That's how I look at it.
Absolutely. I'll still leave you tickets for every game. Don't worry about it.
I'll be the Elvis for your program. That'll work for me. How does that sound?
I appreciate it. How you doing? Good?
I'm good, boss, man. I'm good. Can't wait to see your guys in action this year, man. I know you guys are going to be fantastic and really thrill the Capital District with a team that's going to be really, really playing well this year.
Well, we appreciate that. Thank you.
What is the scouting report, Coach Brown, now that you're 1 week away from the start of the season? Do you like your team now that they're standing here in front of you?
Yeah.
You like them? Or
I'm like every coach in the country. I love my team right now because we haven't lost a game yet.
No.
You know? But, yeah, we've got a good group. We return our top 5 scorers from a year ago. We've got some new guys that I think that are going to bring some talent and some energy and enthusiasm to our program. Non-conference schedule's challenging. We start with the number 1 team in the MAC in Iona. We follow it with the preseason number 2 in the Patriot in Boston University, and then number 1 in the Ivy in Yale right after that. So we'll have a good feel for ourselves after the first 2 or 3 games of the season for sure.
Did you watch any of the football game last night? The Jets and Bills? Did you see any of the Thursday nighter?
I did not.
Okay.
But how good of a job is Todd Bowles doing with the Jets?
Yeah, incredible. And Freddie, that's my next question to you. I guess I'm not surprised the Jets won the game, but the fact that they dominated the way they did, and everyone was, it always works out. You talk up a team like Buffalo, 5-2, going to be 6-2, and they're getting all these accolades, and they got absolutely destroyed last night by the Jets.
And we should have seen this coming because you're right, Roger. No one should be surprised that the Jets won because it's the NFL. It's not just a game, week-to-week league. It's more like a minute-to-minute league. But I saw a stat last night that since 2000, Buffalo's been 5-2 3 times. And now 4 times they lost that next game to the New York Jets. So maybe we should have seen that coming based on previous history. But Todd Bowles has been so terrific getting these guys to play. And Josh McCown, there are not too many quarterbacks playing better than him right now in the National Football League. And I think a lot of that, and also people saying the Jets are going to be a terrible team, has really galvanized this team to be 4-5 and a lot better than anybody could have anticipated.
Freddie, I know there isn't a direct comparison here, but I'm having flashbacks for Jets fans from like 2 years ago when Ryan Fitzpatrick played out of his mind. He's kind of just a career journeyman. It's what Josh McCown has been to this point. And if I'm a Jets fan, I'm worried that this franchise somehow finds belief in Josh McCown and brings him back and puts the team back into his hands again next year. Do you think that's a possibility? And do you think they would regret it the same way they did a second year of Fitzpatrick?
Here's why I don't think they would regret it if they decided to do that, because even though Ryan Fitzpatrick had great numbers, his wide receivers bailed him out of a lot of bad passes, and he was the first person to say that, man, I put it up there, my receiver made a play. Josh McCown has been pretty much an accurate quarterback with pedestrian receivers compared to what Ryan Fitzpatrick had the year the Jets almost made the playoffs. So that's why I think there would be a difference in that Ryan Fitzpatrick, when we've seen him go good, we know he's going to go bad at a certain point. Josh McCown has been a career journeyman, but you go back a couple of years ago when Jay Cutler got hurt for the Bears, and he was the number 1 ranked passer in the National Football League. He may be a journeyman, but he's definitely a more accurate guy than Ryan Fitzpatrick has ever been in his NFL career. So they decided to bring him back for another year. That would be the difference. This guy's a better, more accurate quarterback. He's making plays with his receivers, not having his receivers make plays for him.
Hey, Freddie, this is a basketball coach with a football question. So I don't claim to know a whole lot about football. But the success that Todd Bowles is having with the Jets right now, how much pressure is that putting on Ben McAdoo and the New York Giants?
That's a great question because in that city, even though it's still a Giants city, a Giants town, you're going to have that pressure from the other team when they're doing a lot better than, especially when your team, many people thought, could be not only an NFC East championship team, but maybe a team that could get to the Super Bowl. I also believe that there's a lot of pressure inside that organization, and not just on McAdoo, but also in Jerry Reese, the general manager. Jerry Reese, a couple of weeks ago, said, I have to be better as a general manager. When I hear that, that's a guy trying to save his job. And if he winds up going out the way, you have to wonder if whoever's going to come in is going to bring in their own guy. So the fact that the Jets are 4-5 and the Giants have only one win, that's enough pressure to deal with as it is. But when you're a team that many people looked at and said that is a Super Bowl type team potentially, and you only have one win, that pressure inside is a lot worse than the pressure outside from another team in the same city.
And Freddie, I got to follow up to Coach Brown's question, and that is this. Talking about the Giants, they seem to be a complete mess at the moment. No Jenkins this weekend, suspended indefinitely. So ESPN's FPI gives the Giants a 62% chance to win this game. Why is that?
Because the Rams are coming east to play the New York Giants, that's why. And I think a lot of people still don't believe in the Los Angeles Rams. Can they be that team? Plus, we've seen this from the Giants before. When you don't, and to Coach Brown's point and your point, Roger, when you don't expect anything out of the New York Giants, they wind up going to a Super Bowl. When you expect a lot out of the New York Giants, they wind up going 7-9, or in this case, having one win at the point of the season. I think that's why the FPI percentage is based in favor of them over the Los Angeles Rams, because we know offensively the Rams are really good, but they're struggling defensively. But can they be a team that now people are looking at and deal with having a sense of overconfidence, playing a team in the New York Giants that is beat up from the feet up, and they have not been any good at any point this season?
ESPN's Freddie Coleman with us here. He joins us every Friday at 10:30 on Big Board Sports 104.5 The Team, ESPN Radio. Freddie, in the NBA, I'm not panicking the same way I didn't with the Patriots after their season-opening loss to the Chiefs. I'm not panicking about the Cavs, but is there a reason people should be a little concerned about what's going on in Cleveland?
They should be concerned because of their defense and the fact that this team wasn't that good defensively last year anyway, and now they're worse because they've added a Derrick Rose and they added Dwayne Wade, and those guys can only be so good for certain stretches on defense. And unlike in previous years where LeBron could cover up your mistakes, that's asking a lot of him to do that, even though he can still do it at this point of his career. So I don't know about panic in Cleveland. It's way too early in the season for that. That would be, and Coach Brown can speak on this, that would be you lose game one, tough game one, all of a sudden you think you got to change everything. They don't have to change everything in Cleveland, but there's some things they have to get better at. They have to get better at sharing the basketball. I think they've been too much of a one-on-one team. They have to really do a better job of covering for each other on defense with the guys they have that aren't good defensive players. That's on Tyronn Lue, the coach, to come with better defensive game plans. And they have to realize this. People look at Cleveland now as a vulnerable team compared to previous years, and that they can be beaten. Now, they have to deal with that. That fear factor in the East is no longer as strong as it used to be.
Well, I know one thing. If Albany's going to win a lot of games this year, they're going to do it with defense and rebounding. Isn't that your philosophy from the very beginning, Coach Brown?
Well, that sounds good, especially since I have my four captains in here with us right now.
Are you going to be a good defensive team?
We need to get better right now, but eventually we'll be a good defensive team and we'll be good on the glass. And as I tell these guys every day, as long as we don't turn that thing over on the offensive end, we'll find enough ways to score points for sure.
All right, there you go. Hey, Freddie, appreciate it, man. Thanks for joining us as always on the Friday and rolling with Coach Brown. And we got a good chunk of his team hanging out in studio with us right now.
Outstanding. Hey, and Coach Brown, I can't wait to see you guys soon because, like I said, I think you guys are going to do terrific this season. And Roger and everybody, always a pleasure to talk to you guys and have a great weekend.
Thank you, Freddie.
Thanks, Freddie.
Appreciate it.